Hello, everybody. My name is Doug Price, and this is a little YouTube project that we call Notes from the Pastor Cave. And if you're tuning into this is our intro video, then you're probably scouting around, or maybe somebody recommended it to you and you just thought that you'd jump on the information. So we want to just give you a little introduction here. First of all, this is the Pastor Cave, and I call it that because it's a downstairs office from where I live. So it's in the basement, though it's made up nice. It is kind of cavey at times, especially when we have to keep the door closed. And so we've affectionately come to know this as the Pastor Cave. And the whole reason for this ongoing project is a couple of things. I want to just give you an idea how these concepts kind of married together and how they came together. First of all, when I became a follower of Christ in the mid-'70s, one of the really important elements of what happened there and I was a teenager, what happened in my young life was that very often groups of people would come together. Small groups of people. They'd meet in a living room or somebody's house, or in a small church, in a little piece of a fellowship hall somewhere. And they would do just these very small personal Bible studies. And whoever was leading that Bible study would typically have a subject but that they were going to. But the important thing was that people could ask questions. And the agenda didn't always have to be followed. So if you were, somebody who was young and you had been reading a different part of the scriptures than what was being presented that night, you could say, you know what, guys, I was reading this in the book of Leviticus, or I was reading this in James, and I don't quite understand this. And can we take these verses, a couple of verses, can we kind of pull them apart and then put them back together again to help me to understand? And that was just an incredibly important part of my young life. And admittedly, I'm a pastor, and so I include myself in this. A lot of our preaching is very big picture. It's big ideas, it's big concepts. And so we really don't have the time to break down small portions of Scripture like we could back in those days when we just met together in somebody's living room. And then the second part of this is really quite simple, and maybe this makes you laugh because you realize all of a sudden one day that you're getting older. And if you're a pastor, somebody who preaches all the time, and you are diligent and you are studious, then you have these Bibles that you have, and like my Bibles, they're just chock full of notes that I've taken. I've just taken notes upon notes upon notes, prayerfully, reading through the scriptures and asking questions and taking notes. And there's this day that you wake up and you realize that you have more notes than you will ever preach in the rest of your lifetime. In the 20 years you've got left, or whatever it is that you've got left on this planet, you'll never preach all of these notes. And so taking that small group concept and bringing it together with all of these notes that I've collected in just a ton of Bibles over the years, I've started Notes from the Pastor Cave. And that's what we do. We just go to the scriptures and we go through chapter by chapter in areas that I've underlined, areas that I want to highlight, and we just really break them down on a much smaller level. So, welcome. We really hope that you will subscribe. That's the biggest thing. We need you to subscribe because in YouTube land, you're like nothing before you get to 1,000 subscribers. So we need you to subscribe so we can get up to that amount. And when we're able to get up to that amount, we're able to reach so many more people with the message that comes out of the scriptures, which is the most important message of all time. It's the greatest story ever told. And so please subscribe. You can hit the little bell. That will help you to get notifications. Be sure to tell your friends, your neighbors, your family. Pass it on. link it through, link it along, all of those things. We would love to have you do. So welcome aboard Notes from the Pastor Cave. And I will say, as I say at the end of all these videos, Vita brevis gloria aeterna. Life is short, glory is eternal.